When you think of fats, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? Maybe oils, butter, fats on a steak. There are so many different kinds of fats, but most of the time we don't think about the vitamins, minerals, and good properties that some of them have. So I'm going to tell you the best healthy fat sources and why they're the best for overall health. And honestly, this doesn't matter if you're keto or not, and some of these just might surprise you. First up on the list is going to be sardines. Now some of you may be cringing, and some of you may be thinking, I knew it, that was definitely one of them. But sardines have the highest omega-3 content out of all fish. And the smaller that you can get them, the better, because they're going to be less contaminated. And yes, they do come in a can, but most cans this day and time are BPA free, so you should be getting minimal byproducts from those. Sardines contain fats known as DHA and EPA. Now DHA is the most desirable and valuable one because it's the one that goes into the brain. 90% of the fats in our brains are made of DHA. So if you want better brain health or to maintain good brain health, this is something that you definitely want to have in your diet. Now you can have other fish, they're just not going to have a fatty acid profile as good as sardines. The other ones that are high in DHA, second to sardines, are going to be mackerel, anchovies, salmon, and herring. Sardines also have a good amount of selenium in them. What selenium is going to do is help the thyroid convert T4 into T3, which in turn is going to rev the metabolism up a little bit. Just make sure when you're picking out sardines that you get them in water. Don't get them in any other oils, especially things like soybean or canola oil or any stuff like that. Maybe olive oil if that's all you have to pick from. But the other ones, just steer clear of those because those are very inflammatory. And I actually did a video on those that I'll link right here. But yeah, you just want to try to get the fats coming from only the sardines and nothing else. Next up is avocados. Now, we all know avocados are healthy. This is kind of a generic one. But let me tell you why. So avocados are 77% oleic acid, which is an omega-9. Now, oleic acid activates a compound called oleoethanolamide. What this compound does is it helps curb hunger pains and helps to increase fat burning. That's a great combo right there. You're not as hungry and having these hunger pains, and you're getting the effects of burning more fat. Something else that is present in high amounts in avocados is going to be vitamin E. Now, we typically relate vitamin E to skin, hair, and nail health, but something cool that vitamin E does is it inhibits something called cyclooxygenase enzyme 2, but we're just going to call it COX2 for short. To put COX2 into perspective, let me ask this. Have you ever taken an ibuprofen or aspirin? Okay, most of us have, right? You take those to try and reduce COX2 to reduce pain. Vitamin E from a natural source like avocados is going to target and modulate what's called interleukin 6. So having some avocados with your breakfast in the morning would be a great idea because it's going to help modulate, reduce inflammation throughout the rest of your day. Now the best quality avocados that you can get are typically going to be hash avocados. So if those are available in your area, I'd recommend getting those. Next up is macadamia nuts. A lot of people don't consider macadamia nuts to be a source of healthy fats because they taste so good, but macadamia nuts are actually very high in what's called palmitoleic acid. That is an omega-7. Omega-7s help omega-3s work better. So essentially, when omega-7s come into play in the body, omega-3s become more readily available and usable. So having these with another good source of omega-3s would obviously be a really good combo because of the omega-3 potency increase that you're getting. These omega-7s are also going to increase what's called CCK. What the heck is CCK? CCK is a hormone that's upregulated already when we eat. So you can view macadamia nuts as having their own built-in appetite suppressant. So obviously adding these with a meal is going to leave you most likely a lot more satisfied. Another cool thing about the fat in macadamia nuts is the fact that they're going to help stimulate fat burning of the white adipose tissue and not the brown adipose tissue. The white adipose tissue is going to be like the unsightly belly fat and stuff like that. That's white adipose tissue. Now your brown adipose tissue, which is more on the inside, that's the tissue that you do want to have because it helps raise your core body temperature, which helps get your metabolism boosted up if it needs to. Next up, we have bone marrow. I know some of you are thinking, whoa, Matt, what the heck are you talking about, bone marrow? Okay, I don't expect you to eat straight up bone marrow. Let me explain. Like, if you're making soup and you make it from bones, that's what I'm talking about. You'll be able to get it that way. But what's so great about it? What's the hype on bone marrow that I'm trying to create here? Now, first of all, it's mostly fat anyways. It's the soft tissue inside of bones. But it has tons and tons of vitamins and minerals that are fat soluble that you wouldn't get in this kind of combination anywhere else. It's also very high in short chain fatty acids. It helps what's called butyrate. This is a short chain fatty acid in our guts that helps feed the cells within the lining of our gut. We don't get this from plants. We have to get this from animal sources, and bone marrow is a really simple way to do it because you can just make broth. Short chain fatty acids also battle what is called lipopolysaccharides. Lipopolysaccharides exit the gut into the bloodstream, and from there they can trigger inflammation, which can lead to weight gain, constant pain, and just feeling like garbage. That's why it's so important to get these short chain fatty acids. Additionally, with bone marrow, you're going to be getting good amounts of a hormone called adiponectin. Now, adiponectin affects our insulin sensitivity in a very positive way. It's going to help improve it. It could possibly help someone out with diabetes. In most animals, this is stored in the fatty tissue in the bones. So by consuming the bones, by making like broth or some kind of soup, like I said earlier, is a good idea. Now, the most interesting thing about bone marrow is surrounding the world of stem cells. And more specifically, stem cells, they're going to help grow new blood cells and new lymphatic cells for the lymph system. Let's say, for example, your blood cells are sick, okay? In that case, you need new red blood cells. You need new life. To make this happen, you have to have stem cells, and bone marrow provides those. Now, as I said, I don't expect you to eat straight up bone marrow, so I recommend either making a broth, or there are bone marrow capsules that have powdered bone marrow in them. A good company I know of called Peak Performance actually makes some of these capsules. I went ahead and put a link to them down in the description if you'd like to check those out, because that would be very convenient for any of you that are very busy individuals and you don't have time to make broth or anything like that. You just take a few of these a day and you're good to go, and you're getting all the benefits. Next up, we have olive oil. Now, first off and foremost, don't cook with olive oil. It will denature very, very rapidly. But that doesn't mean it's a bad oil, it's just more fragile. Fish oil is also a fragile oil, but you get a lot of benefits from consuming it, but you wouldn't cook with it. So olive oil is designed to be drizzled onto things, and it has very high antioxidant properties. When you're consuming a lot of fats and introducing a lot of new fats into your diet, you have a high amount of what's called lipid peroxidation that could occur. This is where fats go rancid inside the body, which can lead to a lot of inflammation. Fats like olive oil have fat-bound reactive oxygen species scavenging effects to basically circulate and stop that effect. So olive oil, yeah, a little bit here and there, but I wouldn't load up on it. I recommend consuming a good diversity of fats. Now this list wouldn't be complete without coconut oil, but it's not for the MCTs that people usually talk about being good for keto and fat burning and stuff like that. What I'm looking at is the lauric acid effect, because 50% of coconut oil is lauric acid. When you consume this, it gets acted upon by enzymes in your body and then is converted into monolaurin. So monolaurin is antibacterial and antimicrobial, and it helps restore the gut. So the benefits of coconut oil are more digestive than anything else. Now, if you're worried about the saturated fats in this stuff, there was a meta-analysis from Japan that took a look at 21 different studies with over 348,000 participants, and they found that there was no correlation between an increase in heart disease and stroke in those that consumed a high amount of saturated fat or those that consumed a low amount of saturated fat. So just know that fat is not the issue with the heart disease stuff. It's the inflammation and the sugar that's the real issue. If anything, coconut oil is going to help battle those bad bacteria's negative effects and keep them from causing inflammation and other bad things. Now, to make this fun, I have added dark chocolate to this list because dark chocolate is a fat. If you get just regular 100% unsweetened baking chocolate, you get a lot of good saturated fats and monounsaturated fats that your body can utilize. You also get a good antioxidant effect and an endocannabinoid effect that's going to make you feel good and elevate your mood. You do get an endorphin rush from chocolate, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. You get this satiated effect because your mind is satiated. You don't feel like you need to eat. You could combine some macadamia nuts with a little bit of dark chocolate and have a great nutritious little snack that's going to keep you satiated and help you feel better just in general. At this point, I hope you have a different view on fats, because not all fats are created equal. Walnuts are not the same as macadamia nuts. Soybean oil is not the same as olive oil, and so on and so forth. They all have different properties, different things they do in the body, and different vitamin and mineral content in them. Be sure to smash that like button if you got some great information out of this, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon to turn on notifications so that you don't miss anything new that I put out. Keep it keto, keep it healthy. I'll catch you guys in the next video.